What up guys, it's Rob. Welcome to another video. And today I want to react to something I found online where some dude says that he's going to completely transform his body in 100 days. Might be bullshit, might not be, but I figured it would be fun to just go through the video, see if he actually did it, and if he did anything worthwhile, I could just relay that information to you so you can try it and see the same results for yourself. Let's check it out and see what exactly is going on over here. I'm actually really curious.
100 days ago, I challenged myself to a fitness transformation. This was me. Every day I was sleeping just 4 hours a night, walking an average of just 2,000 steps, drinking 4 cups of caffeinated tea, scoffing food at every possible opportunity, and just generally feeling like a sack of potatoes.
Okay, let's just stop there. So everything that he just mentioned is the exact recipe that you should follow if you want to feel and look like complete shit. I just wanted to add that in. Let's hope to God that he changed that.
So, I committed to making 10 key lifestyle changes to see if I could turn this all around. 100 days is up. This is what's happened.
Already?
The first 5 days were horrible. I dropped immediately from 3 to 4 cups of tea and coffee a day to 0. And while I did think this would be challenging, I had no idea that I'd be practically unable to function.
I was just gonna say, how are you even gonna function? Listen guys, if any of you out there have any experience with drinking coffee, like on the regular, screw 5 cups a day, like just 1 cup. Like if you did that for 6 months and then stopped, you're gonna have all kinds of side effects. So I don't even know how this dude was even able to function outside of that.
My eyes hurt, my forehead hurts, my whole face hurts.
Did you hear him? My whole face hurts. It's almost like he got hit by a car or something.
And what made this slightly harder was the fact that at the same time, my gym regimen had just tripled in intensity. More on that in a minute.
Okay, so let's just break this down from the start. He decided to start a fitness regimen. He decided to drop caffeine cold turkey, and he decided to up the intensity of his workouts, and he thought he was going to be able to function.
Running at every possible opportunity, literally until I could not take another step. Plus, I was making myself do 25
And he's overtraining.
minutes of fast walking at an incline every evening on top of that.
And he's overtraining some more.
Not easy when you're struggling to make it to the evening.
Correct.
It's literally like 6 p.m. I'm dead.
But then on day 6, something happened.
I'm just getting ready to film our best smartphone of the year so far video. And I actually feel okay. I feel awake. I feel ready. I feel like I might not even need a tea.
It felt wrong. Why do
Could it be that he adjusted to the lack of caffeine?
I suddenly feel like I can film this video without my caffeine? Of course, the answer is that the previous 5 days without it meant that I was getting tired during the day, sleeping at a decent time, and actually getting better quality sleep because
So he started out by dropping caffeine. He felt like complete dog shit for the first 5 days. And then on the 6th day, he kind of felt more normal, which all that means is that he actually detoxed. It's now out of his system, and he can now function like a normal human being without ODing on caffeine. Glad we got that.
of it. It just taken my body 5 days to readjust to functioning without that caffeine stimulation. I have had tea since then, but I've never had more than 1 in a day, and it immediately switched from
1 cup of coffee a day, guys. It's really all you need. Don't burn out your adrenal glands.
feeling like something I needed to just a bonus. And while I was on this high, I also thought, it's been a week, let's do a progress check. I couldn't believe it. Turns out that within just 7 days, I'd managed to bring that average sleep time all the way up from 4 hours to almost 7. The scales were saying 83.8 kilos and 20.3% fat.
All right, guys, so check this out. This is important. This is actually where I get serious. 7 days into a transformation, he's already noticing results. And it might not be a direct reflection in the way that he looks, but you absolutely, if you actually do what you're supposed to do for just 7 days, you will feel better than you felt 100%. That's where you start to feel the results. You're gonna feel them before you see them.
I was on top of the moon. Over the next couple of weeks, as well as all the other stuff, I started to properly turn my attention to the art of
Do you see his pussycat down there?
meditation. From everything I'd heard about meditating, I knew that this was going to be the key to reducing my overall stress levels. And it seems so simple. You just sit there for a few minutes a day. But my gosh, has this fitness transformation revealed stuff about me. I
I can't sit still, so meditation is not for me, I'll be straight up.
couldn't do it. I was trying to use the Headspace app for this, and it starts you off with 3-minute meditation sessions where there's a narrator who guides you through what to think about. Things like focus on the sounds around you and notice the way your body is feeling right now. Sadly, the only thing I could notice was just how painstakingly long 3 minutes felt when
Listen, I'll be straight up. I cannot sit still. So even for 3 minutes, that would probably be difficult for me. But I could see where this is going. I'm almost positive he will have adjusted and all of a sudden he's going to love meditation. If you like to meditate, by all means, meditate all you want. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not for me, and I've tried, but let's see how it ends up for him.
Doing absolutely nothing. I wanted to fidget, I wanted to move, I wanted to get on with 100 tasks that I told myself I was going to do that day. Not to mention that I'm allergic to like 15 different airborne particles. So any moments of serenity I did manage to get only drew my attention to how blocked my nose was. But I kept trying. Every single day, whether I was tired, whether I was at a party, whether I was in another country, I would find some time to sit and meditate. And then one day,
One day, he loved it.
I think I finally get meditation. It kind of feels like I've just got up from a deep sleep.
nope, false alarm. That wasn't it. It was only when I really understood what the goal of this meditation was that I was able to start to get there. It's not really about sitting half naked on a mountain and waiting for enlightenment like you see in the movies. The key thing that I was trying to get from it was a sense of mindfulness.
Okay, I can understand this. Listen, it's super important that all of us practice some sort of mindfulness and self-awareness. And if that's what meditation did for him, then I can agree with that part, but it's still not for me.
As soon as I got that, I realized I don't even need the app. I was meditating in the train station, I was meditating while working, I was meditating while getting my hair cut, and it really does work. I also thought it was time to check my progress 20 days in. I didn't feel like I looked significantly
Let's see how he looks.
better. But the moment I'd taken this photo and put it side by side with the first one, I was shocked. You could see it on my belly, you could see it on my sides, you can see it on my face, and my
This is just what happens. Like, he's progressively, over time, getting healthier. It's showing in the way that he's sleeping. It's showing in the reduction of his caffeine intake. It's showing in his weight, and it's showing in the reduction of his body fat percentage. This is just kind of how it happens. And if you're doing things correctly, you will progress over time, and not that much time.
weight was down yet again. No doubt helped by the healthier sleep habits, lower stress levels, and the fact that I was slowly but surely dialing up the speed of my evening walks on this fitness transformation.
Okay.
How many times have I said that phrase?
I'm on like a
What's up with this pussy he's got?
Fitness transformation right now. I want to get into the best shape of my life by August 31st. You might know that I'm partway through a fitness transformation right
Real talk, I can actually notice in his face that he's noticeably leaner. You can even see that in his jawline. So it's working.
now. I'd say that's like at least 10, 12 kilos. Fitness transformation.
There's that pussy again.
Too many. But the other side to this coin is the eating. At the point where I decided to make this change,
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
I was eating horribly. Eating junk food had essentially become my way of pushing myself to work harder. I'd created an emotional
So hold on a second. So you mean to tell me that this guy, for however long he was doing it, was eating a bunch of shit, had a diet that was kind of put together of only junk food, had a ton of caffeine going into his body, slept like shit, and didn't exercise, and he was overweight? Go figure.
connection between feeling overwhelmed and then using cakes and chocolates as the incentive to work my way out of it. The meditation was already helping to combat that feeling of being stressed out
Meditation,
so
man.
regularly, but it's only when I compounded that with actually good food that's when things really started making a turn. My strategy was effectively just to plate myself the original meal that I would have normally had, but then just shift the proportions away.
This is another brain buster. I got to point this out. So basically what he's saying was he would normally eat this much food, and then he started to now eat this much food, and then this much food, and he all of a sudden started to lose weight. I guess that means that he was eating less. Interesting.
From the chips and the rice, more towards the veg and the protein. And I would strongly recommend that for anyone else trying to make this kind of change. I'm human, but then I substituted that for these mini, dark, somewhat healthy little chocolate bars that I could treat myself to. And yeah, I did still crave the odd fizzy drink, but the best thing I did was to not deprive myself of that.
So here's when I get serious again. 80-20 is the way to have success and see success with any sort of weight loss or exercise regimen. If you're gonna start and go cold turkey with all the shit that you used to do and then turn into some sort of you turn it into some military routine, you're going to fail 99% of the time. The fact of the matter is that you can still make significant progress, achieve your goals, lose weight, and even create a great body doing things 80-20. That means 80% of the time you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you indulge a bit here and there, maybe 20% of the time.
Substituted my Fanta for soda water mixed with some fresh orange juice. I know it sounds strange, but it hit the spot. This challenge really forced me to get creative with my recipes. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen my various attempts at smoothies. Or there was another day where I was really craving pancakes. Obviously, I couldn't make myself the full fat version, but that allowed me to figure out a recipe that was pretty lean, very quick, and really tasty when served with some blueberries and a bit of honey. The further I got into this challenge though, the more it started to dawn on me that when it comes to all this health stuff, you can't control everything. Sometimes a friend will host a meal out.
That's a really, really important thing to touch on. You're never going to be able to control all the variables. You might be someone that has a really, really consuming work schedule. You might have children. You might have a really busy social life. You might have a job where you have to attend a lot of events. You might travel a lot. And it's going to be difficult to stay 100% on target all the time. That's why you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway, and that's where that 80-20 comes in.
Take a work trip away. Like I went to America for 9 days to film that video with Mr. Beast. Do I regret it?
Shit, I would go totally off my regimen if I had a chance to shoot with Mr. Beast, just real talk.
Not one bit. But was it practically impossible to completely stick to my plan while being A, jet-lagged, B, traveling sat down for long periods of time, C, working really long hours, and D, in a foreign country surrounded by restaurants and nowhere to cook my own food? Yes. Yes, it was. But I think what helped me to...
But he was still able to see progress because he was doing things 80-20. And there are still ways that you can travel and do everything that he was still doing and still stay on target, but it just becomes a little bit more stressful than it's really worth.
Get through times like that was partly just being as healthy as I reasonably could. Like instead of getting the full-fat, onion ring, deep-fried burger, opting for the rice dish. And then instead of having all the pies on the airplane, just
maybe don't have a pie
having
at all.
one and then asking for fruit. And it was partly just switching my point of comparison away from the super militant level of control that I was able to have while at home and more towards just comparing myself to how unhealthy old me would have been in that same scenario.
So he's kind of admitting that the old him, I guess 30 days prior, would have just eaten all the pie, would have eaten that disgusting looking greasy ass onion burger. And now, just a month later, he's kind of gotten into the habit of making better choices and he's seeing progress. What do you know? It really is that simple.
And thankfully, about 50 days in, halfway through the time I'd given myself, it seemed to have paid off big time. By this point, I could actually feel like I was in better shape. I felt lighter.
Absolutely looks 100% better than you did when you
Felt
started.
more agile. Not to mention that my weight was now sitting at 81 kilos, which isn't even close to actually factoring in the full difference because as well as losing the fat, I was putting on muscle at the same time.
He's making progress.
See, even with all these minor stumbles I had with my diet, I think the fact that I wasn't too hard on myself when I had to be a bit unhealthy meant that I never felt like it was all over or what's the point.
And let me touch on this for a second. This word, like being unhealthy, that's thrown around way too much. I want everybody to know that you can eat perfectly healthy, like perfectly healthy, and still be a fucking mess. You can have steak, chicken, vegetables, beans, oatmeal, rice, all these avocado, all these really healthy foods, but still be significantly overweight. When it comes to actually losing weight, it doesn't really have anything to do with being healthy or not. It just kind of happens to be that when you're generally eating healthier, your weight tends to be more of what it's supposed to be. You tend to look more fit. You tend to feel better. But if you really want to lose weight, you don't really have to eat healthy. I'm not saying not to eat healthy. I'm just saying that I think there's a misunderstanding between the two. Losing weight has to do with being in a calorie deficit. You need to consume less calories than you burn, and that's how you lose weight. Being healthy is a totally different thing.
Which allowed me to just dive back into being more healthy as soon as those opportunities presented themselves. It's satisfying to me knowing that there are multiple mechanisms all fighting to help you at once. And this ideology
There are many routes that you can take to get to the same destination.
is also what I've applied to this transformation. Because it's not just the eating well and the intense workouts and the meditation, it's also all the standing I've been doing. 3 months ago, I got myself this standing desk.
Let me stop there. This is huge, and this even excites me because this will literally change every single one of your lives if you want to just spend just a little bit of money. A while back, I purchased a standing desk. I purchased a standing desk because when I do my work, I create my content, I work with my clients. I actually don't like to sit. It actually bothers my back. So I got this desk that literally just with the tap of a button just goes all the way up and comes all the way down. And just by standing up, you're just more likely to move your arms more, you're more likely to move your feet more, you're more likely to walk more. Shit, you can even put a walking pad underneath that standing desk and you can get steps in while you work when you would otherwise just be sedentary. This is something to think about. This is a brilliant move that he made.
Spent an average of 4 hours per day working from it. I could not recommend it more. Because it's not just that you stand and you keep your core active, but you also find that you move your legs more, your arms more, and you're just generally active for 4 more hours a day, which is enormous. And then every now and again, I've been swapping it out for this vibration plate, which basically exercises my body for me. Let's not talk
That's bullshit. So no, guys, that shit doesn't work.
about the amount of drinks I've spilled while working from it. Working at a standing desk is one of those things that's a very noticeable change when you start doing it, but then after a week or so, you kind of forget. And you're only reminded at the end of each day when you eventually sit back down and kind of feel like you've already done your workout.
Listen, guys, when you stand more, you move more. When you move more, you burn more calories. When you burn more calories, you lose more fat. When you lose more fat, you lose more weight. This is just how it goes. Get a standing desk.
Not everything I tried was super effective. Like, one thing I used was the Slender Tone belt that shocks your abs into contracting many times.
That is a complete con and a scam and total bullshit. Please, nobody out there waste their money on this belt that shocks your stomach and gives you abs. Abs are created by reducing your body fat to the point that you can see them, and if you don't have very pronounced abs, you perform exercises which you only need 1 or 2 to develop them, and all of a sudden, poof, there are your abs.
Till I realized that the setting was on 10 out of 100. By about 40, it was painful, and at 100, well, this should give you an idea of how it felt. Okay, to be fair, I was actually okay with the pain part of it. The reason I decided to ditch this belt was more that it wasn't really designed to help you lose weight, more to tone your abs. But since I still had a layer of fat over my abs, you wouldn't have been able to tell anyways.
Right. Also, that belt that you got did nothing to give you abs.
Another thing, one of my other resolutions was to install a water reminder app on my phone that pings me every 2 hours to make sure I drink. I thought this was genius.
I mean, you could always just walk around with a bottle. I mean, that'll also kind of prompt you to drink.
It did give me a nudge at the beginning, but by the time we're approaching week 10, the regularity of it almost made me start to just tune out the notification. That said, the biggest thing that was actually a game changer was just making sure that I always had a full bottle on the desk with me.
Real talk, I have never watched this video before I decided to react to it, so just listen, if you want to drink more water, you want to be more intentional about it, make sure you have a water bottle with you at all times, and you'll drink more.
It is crazy the difference in the amount of water I drink when the tap is 10 steps away from me versus how much I drink when it's 0 steps away.
I need to stop you. Actual hydration is not a matter of how much water you drink. It actually takes place on an intracellular level, and that's through ingesting electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium. That's actually what hydrates you, mostly sodium and water. So it's a mixture of both. It's not just water. That's not true.
It was at around day 75, 3/4 through the challenge, where I actually started to notice that I was also getting much stronger. The way that I was using progressive overload to go up just a
Progressive overload. For those of you that don't know what that is, I actually have a video on my channel about exactly what it means to progressive overload. But just to explain it in layman's terms, it's about week after week after week working to increase upon a weight in either how many reps you're doing or in how much weight you're actually using. So you progressively overload, which leads to you getting stronger, which leads to an adaptation, which results in more muscle mass.
Little bit in weight or reps each workout meant that by this point, having had so many workouts, I was lifting about 80% more than when I started. Literally.
What do you know? If you do something consistently over time, you get better at it. Wow.
The kinds of weights that I was struggling to lift at the beginning, I was now using for my cool down sets, which is such a crazy thing for me to
I like to see when people are making progress, so it honestly makes me happy.
wrap my head around. Not to mention that while at the start I was planking for about a minute ago, by this point I was becoming able to do 3-minute planks.
You can do planks if you want, but there are better choices. Really, you only need 2 movements to train your abs correctly. You could do a rope crunch to train the upper abs, and you can do hanging leg raises to train the lower abs. That's all you're ever going to need.
As my main workouts getting more intense as we went, so were my evening walk. I realize how that sounds. I'm not actually joking. The way it started was that every evening before I went to bed, I would walk at a speed of 5 kilometers an hour at an incline of 5 degrees for 25 minutes.
Okay, so he's being consistent.
By the end, it was 6 kilometers an hour at an incline of 7 degrees, and I was going for 30 minutes. Which might sound like small changes, but when added together, I was burning twice as many calories per evening doing this, almost 300 per walk. And this much time spent on a treadmill also pushed me to find ways.
Guys, this is proof that like as you do things consistently, you get better at it. If you work at losing weight, you're gonna lose it. If you eat less, you're gonna lose weight. If you train more, you're gonna get stronger. You're gonna put muscle on. Be consistent.
Just enjoying it. I realized that with my Nintendo Switch, I could have the tablet section resting on the machine itself.
This guy's even playing video games to distract himself while he's doing cardio. You could do that too.
And then just detach the controllers and play my games as I was walking. It made the time fly by.
This guy's a genius, really fucking innovative.
By the time we got to day 85, my sleep was drastically better than the 28% I was being scored when I started this change. I was now regularly hitting 70 to 80% sleep quality, which was already a vast improvement.
Pretty
Then I
damn
found
good.
this product. It's an air filtration unit that effectively just sucks in.
This is not sponsored. Obviously, this video is not sponsored. I have one of these. I bought it off Amazon, for $40. And I'm not gonna lie, it made a drastic difference in the quality of the sleep I get at night. My house is really old, so there's dust and stuff. And that literally cleans the air to the point that you breathe significantly better. So I do highly recommend you pick one of these up.
All the allergens, the dust, and the pollen that have been restricting my breathing at night. And this one change has now pushed me closer to the 90s in sleep quality.
Whoa.
I've literally gone from insomnia levels of sleep to 90%.
Guys, if you ever want to start on a fitness regimen, the most important part that you get in order as quick as you possibly can is your sleep. Like if there are four pillars of fitness, it's sleep, sodium, nutrition, and training. That's right, training is the least important of the four.
And that leads us to the results. This is me now.
I really got to see this.
I've never felt this self-assured
Wow.
and confident in my entire life.
I'm not going to lie. He looks fucking amazing. I'm not even going to lie.
And as for the stats, I'm now averaging just under 8 hours of sleep a day. My daily step count has hit 13,000. My caffeine has leveled out to about 1 cup of tea per day. And as for weight, 79 kilos with a
I'll be totally honest with you. He clearly looks significantly better than he did. That is not a Photoshop picture. That is what happens when you spend only 100 days. That's all you have to spend being intentional about your sleep, about what you put in your body, about how often you're moving, and about your weight training. If you could just do this for just a couple of weeks and then even push it into a couple of months, guys, I guarantee you that you will not recognize yourself and you could be this guy or even better.
16.9% body fat. Sadly, there's no six-pack, but I will definitely take the fact that you can at least tell my abs exist.
So to be totally honest with you guys, I really enjoyed the video. I was happy to see that he transformed at that level, and he wasn't doing any of this for that long. 100 days is nothing. If he could do it, you could do it too, and probably even better. And all he did was change 4 things about his life. He became really, really intentional about prioritizing his sleep. He was watching what he was putting into his body. He was being intentional about how often he was moving, and he was consistent with his training. That's literally all he did. I know that video was kind of all over the place to entertain you, but when it comes down to it, it's just those 4 things. And if you can do that, you can transform yourself just as well as he did and even better. Quick announcement, being that you made it to the end of the video, I am on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And when I get there, I'm going to be taking on one person and working with them for 16 weeks completely for free. All you need to be is a person that actually really needs to transform. You're overweight, you're not feeling good about yourself, you're lacking confidence, you're unhealthy, and you want to change that. My gift to you is to help you transform entirely for free. All you need to do is please subscribe to the channel, find my Instagram link down in the description, follow me and message me, tell me you're interested, and as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to contact one lucky person and work with you for a couple of months entirely on me. Thanks so much for watching. Peace, guys.